On May 2nd, G-I-DLE announced that they had changed their name to I-DLE, removing the letter G. This change marked their 7th anniversary, the official termination of their first contract, and the beginning of a new era alongside the group's comeback. Later, I-DLE released a concept trailer in which the girls were having a funeral for the letter G, emphasizing the group's rebrand. This was enough to make people go insane. They started running around with and spreading the idea that what the girls were burying was Soojin and that the letter G represented her. Numerous claims that I-DLE hates Soojin began, saying they were using her name and story for clout, arguing that it was implied that she was in the coffin that appeared in the trailer, and much more. This nonsensical idea was further supported by the release of a special album which contained old versions of I-DLE songs but without Soojin. Today, I am going to explain to you why I-DLE changed their name. I will explain it in the simplest way possible so even a kid can understand. The letter G does not represent anyone. It never did. The letter G was not even supposed to be there in the first place. This is Cube's official article announcing the group's name. It says just I-DLE. You'll even find people asking Cube to change the name in the comments. Soyeon herself has a song called I-DLE Song, which was released 2 months before the group's debut. The G was briefly added after Cube announced the group's name, and it was added because people were confused and upset about the name. I-DLE in English means someone who avoids work and is lazy, and in Korean it means children. It can also be used to say individual. What does it mean then? It's a mix of things. The main idea is to mean children, signifying they will forever be children at heart. They even have a song called Peter Pan to honor that. The I separated by a hyphen is in English, and it means identity. It's also a direct reference to why they always named their albums I something. Soyeon explained that the I would always be in the albums because it represents the subject, I, and the subject, in other words, them, would always be telling their own stories. Dual is a suffix for the plural form in Korean, meaning the group has many identities gathered in just one place. This is why the G is found in between parentheses. The G made it easier to understand the meaning both in Korean and English, without involving the original meaning. In Korean, it'd translate directly to yeoja, which means women. In English, it means girls. By putting it together, it would mean something like girl idols in English and girls in Korean. It also symbolized the number 6, which is how many members the group had at first.
Our team name is I-DLE, so actually I-DLE in Korean means a group of young people.
Right.
But we play around with the words a little by replacing I with the English I. And I left the "de," which is a Korean suffix for plural, so that I-DLE means a group of 6 different individuals.
The symbolism is the only thing that somehow includes Soojin, but it's not even a direct representation. She was also not the last member to join I-DLE for the 6 to be her representative number. This was done without the girls' consent, so no one liked it, not even Soojin. Since Soyeon came up with the concept and name for the group, I think she was especially against it.
자, 그룹명 가로 여자 아이들. 그 이거 바꾸자요. 아이들. 솔직히 이번에 빼야 돼. 일단 빼자 그러면. 빼고 싶어요. 아이들하고 불러주세요.
By adding the G, the idea of the group being children who cannot be limited to gender is thrown away. The girls used this whole thing to build a narrative around the letter G and began to show it in 2021 with Tomboy. They had erased the letter G from the name, leaving it as I-DLE, fulfilling 2 purposes. The first one was to point out how they were not 6 anymore, and the second one was to emphasize the song's concept, Tomboy, not being limited by a gender. This is also shown in the poster album, with the letter V representing the number 5. This makes it even clearer that the current rebranding is not a shade or hate towards Soojin. Also, the rebranding has been planned ever since I Never Die. The 5 from the poster is followed by 2, the second full album, completing 5-2, their debut date, and the day they'd rebrand. The letter G was never once mentioned to represent any of the members. People created this theory in their minds and got frustrated over their expectations not being met. And before anyone says I am reaching or making up stuff, I explained all of this in my Tomboy breakdown 2 years ago. The Mama shout-out, lyrics directly related to Soojin, concepts inspired by what she loves, and small details like her birth date written on the walls. These are not merely coincidences. They pay tribute to her history. Fans, however, took these as small promises that she'd come back to the group at a certain point, which did not happen, leading to frustration for the second time. The first time this happened was when they renewed their contract with Cube, and now, with this rebranding, the disappointment is accentuated as it seems like they are leaving Soojin behind. I-DLE couldn't keep going like this forever, though. As much as it hurts to lose a member, imagine being reminded that it doesn't matter how hard you work, it'll never be enough because you can't make someone come back. The same goes for Soojin. She's working so hard as soloist, but it doesn't matter how great her efforts are, she'll never be enough unless she's in I-DLE. It's really hard for both of them, and currently they can't be together. And yeah, I know that the girls have a lot of control in their hands, so it may seem like they can do whatever they want, but that's not how it works. The special album can be seen as unnecessary, and maybe it is. They've been using those versions ever since 2022. Nothing changed other than making it official. And that's the point. They did it to emphasize the rebranding. They know it's not getting streams or attention, but that's the closest thing to a closure they can give and show the general public. If they wanted to erase her, they'd have done so back then, when she completely disappeared and was blacklisted in the whole country. They could have easily pretended that she was never part of the group. The the rebranding seeks closure, not forgetting. The people claiming that I-DLE is using Soojin for clout or throwing her under the bus, abuse of the fact that Soojin's case is still open and vague to add unnecessary fuel to the hate against the girls. They do not care about Soojin. Better yet, they care about her only if she's an idol. If all of these people cared about her, Soojin's solo career would have been skyrocketing, which is not the case. The support she has is minimal. These people create narratives that put the girls as villains because that's easier than supporting and accepting Soojin as a former member, even if momentarily. I-DLE is extremely famous, and they keep growing exponentially. Packs all the time, multiple brand deals, and sold-out tours. They do not need to use her name for clout. I-DLE's upcoming album is called We Are, showing that they are just one, regardless of how many members the team has. They are burying their old identity and bringing the past within them, not forgetting, just moving on. If you, for even a moment, think that your pain is similar or greater than theirs for losing Soojin, you are just insane. Through the whole hiatus, Soyeon barely showed her face in public. Yuqi was working like crazy in China and even cried on national TV. Shuhua almost mentioned her multiple times. Miyeon was crying with fan letters. Minnie was struggling with depression. Even the girls' families still keep in contact with Soojin. Hell, Minnie's brothers even follow her. I-DLE will forever be 6. I-DLE is 5. That's why they changed their name.